My name is Ram Hotep, broadcasting on behalf of 13signastrology.com. Doing this video today on memory. On memory. What is memory? Why is it important? How does memory work? These are some of the things that I'll be covering in this video. Now, in this Western world that we live in, memory is something that has not been fully discovered. It's a very new topic, even in Western science. The whole concept of memory and what it is very, very new, believe it or not. Western society has not even touched on 20% of exactly how memory works and what it is and how it functions. Now, those of you that have watched my videos, you know that when I get into different topics, I like to kind of start out and I like to basically go ahead and define the terms, of the various topics that I'm dealing with. And in this particular video, since we're dealing with memory, I'm going to go ahead and give you a very concise definition of memory. Now, memory, according to the root word of what it means, because like when I define things, I don't just go into Webster's dictionary and look things up, because when you look things up in Webster's dictionary, you're getting Webster's perspective on something, meaning that this is his definition of what he thinks it means based on his research and study of the word. So that's Webster's version. So when I go into definitions, I go into the history of the word, and things like that and where it came from. The word memory basically goes back to to Middle English. It's basically as old as Middle English. It's not really a very old word, but it connects to a much older word. And this is a word that many of you are very familiar with. The term memory goes back to the term conscious. Goes back to the term conscious. To remember. Goes back to the term awareness and consciousness. Cognizance. This is what memory is. Consciousness, cognizance, awareness. And many of us, we call ourselves conscious. We say, well, I'm conscious. I've woke up. I'm in the conscious community. I've woke up. I'm a conscious being. We equate spirituality to consciousness. And this is why, beloved, memory is so important. Memory is so important because your memory and your ability to remember dictates your consciousness. That's right. It dictates your consciousness, your ability to remember. Now, what exactly is memory as far as how does it work when it comes to the human mind? Now, memory actually, believe it or not, takes place in various different parts of your brain. One aspect of it takes place in the hypothalamus area. Another aspect takes place in, actually, believe it or not, in the pineal gland area. Another aspect of it takes place in the neocortex area, even in the reptilian R factor aspect of the brain. That's right, you have a reptilian part of your brain. For those of you that didn't know that, it's called the R factor. The mammalian aspect deals with memory. And there's different levels to memory depending on the topic that you're dealing with and depending on what you're trying to remember and what you're trying to process. Now, if you study memory from a computer standpoint, this is how I'm going to help you to understand it. Your ability to remember and to be conscious can be looked at from a computer standpoint. And when you study memory in a computer, the more memory you have in your computer, the faster your computer works when various programs are open. Your memory dictates how fast your computer thinks. It's the thinking process. That's what the memory is. It's not the storage. See, the memory is how it takes it in, the thinking process. Now, memory, according to the school of science and the mundane aspect, I'm going to take you to the spiritual aspect, but on the mundane aspect, memory has three aspects to it. The first aspect of memory is to encode the information, how the information is encoded. how it's registered, how it's processed into the self. You see, and memory links to the senses, the five senses: touch, smell, taste, hear, the five senses. So memory links directly, your ability to remember links to your five senses. So in order for you to encode the memory, is based on your sensory perception and how sensitive you are to your environment. Are you able to pick up on smells? How good is your nasal function? How good is your breathing? This all goes into memory. And the encoding process, which is the first step, is linked to your senses. Now, once the information is encoded through your senses, and there's 4 higher senses, but that's going to be in the spiritual aspect of memory. When I go into the spiritual aspect, we're dealing with the mundane aspect. Basically, how you would remember, say, for instance, an ink pen. How would you remember an ink pen? You would remember how it looks. You remember the shape of it. You might remember the brand name of it. You might remember the color that it is. And these actually take place in different aspects of your brain. All the different aspects I just named about that pen, it doesn't take place in one aspect of your brain. See, memory is very important when it comes to processing life and when it comes to processing reality. And your brain function is very important when it comes to dealing in the subject of memory. Now, the second aspect of memory is the storage aspect. Once you encode the information, whatever the information is, and everything on the exterior world is information. Everything that's in this exterior world is just merely information. Everything is information. So, and everything goes back to memory, everything. And that's why memory is so important when it comes to consciousness, beloveds. So the second aspect of it is the storage aspect. Basically, when you store the information, the process of storing it so that you can go into the third aspect of it, which is to retrieve it. So when you store it, this is like when you store information on your hard drive, and then you want to go back to it, you want to retrieve it. So all of this takes place in various different parts of the brain, and different aspects of particular information that you're trying to remember is stored in various different aspects of the brain. Now, in the matrix, memory is suppressed. It's suppressed. That's right, for a reason. Your memories, people forget. In this matrix, for the most part, we get amnesia very quickly. We forget very easily. Just average stuff. I mean, we need to write down things. We need to use our little iPads to remember things. We have planners and all this stuff to remember things. We have to even set an alarm clock to wake up. See, your memory is suppressed in the matrix. You know why? Because they have you looking on the outside for everything. They have you looking on the outside for everything, to where your memory is based on the outside. And this is how they enslave you, beloved. They enslave you through your memory. Very, very key point. You're enslaved through your memory. Now, us spiritualists, the yogis, the gurus, the masters, we know that memory can be enhanced through the quickening of the chi and the quickening of your vitality. You might ask, how does one quicken the chi or the prana or the life force, the force? See, we know memory connects directly to the force. Memory in and of itself is conscious. And there are ways to enhance the memory based on the spiritual sciences. And meditation is one way, one of the key ways to enhance the memory, to make the memory better. Proper diet, which links right into meditation. So you can't have a good meditation if you're not eating properly. Proper diet is another key to remembering. You see, in this matrix, we do drugs, even smoking weed. I know a lot of my weed smokers are going to be angry about this, but smoking weed kills the memory, beloved. Smoking weed calcifies the pineal gland. which suppresses the memory, beloved. And that's why smoking weed, when you get on the high spiritual levels, I mean, if you start obsessively smoking weed, meaning that you're doing it more than once a week, really more than once a month, really, but more than once a week or more than once a month, that means you're obsessive weed smoker. You're killing brain cells. You're killing the memory. You see, weed smokers start out having vivid dreams, but a lot of weed smokers can't even vividly remember their dreams. A lot of weed smokers cannot lucid dream. A lot of weed smokers don't have control in their dreams. And I'm not trying to knock you, you know what I'm saying? I know a lot of people out there smoking weed. I'm not trying to knock you. I'm just saying, if you want to experience a conscious state, a higher conscious state, you talk about you want to ascend. People ask me about ascending and raising your energy and all of these things. If you want to do these things, beloved, you have to increase your memory. You have to enhance your memory. You have to develop your memory. You see, the Hindus and the yogis and the sages and the Kamites, the Egyptians, the ancestors, see, they know about the memory. They knew about the memory. And I haven't even got into the spiritual aspect of it. This is just the mundane aspect, so that you can enhance your day-to-day life, so that you can remember things. Memory in astrology ties into Mercury, which is your mind function, your brain function, your ability to remember things, to not leave things behind, things of this nature. This is all tied into your diet. You can enhance your memory. And your memory is your basis of your consciousness, and your awareness is based on your memory. This is why it's so important, beloved. Memory is super important. This is your consciousness and your awareness. Now, memory, let's go into the spiritual aspect of it. Memory ties into the 6th and 7th chakras. Your ability to remember will determine as to whether or not you can recall your past lives. That's right. Your soul, I'm going to do a video on what is spirit and what is soul. I'm touching on a lot of stuff here in relationship to memory, because memory will lead you into a lot of topics. But your soul is basically your memory. You see, your memory really, see, this is what scientists are going to tell you. This is the spiritual aspect of it. They want to stop at the brain. The brain is nothing but the processor to process it. That's all the brain is. It's the physical function to process the memory and to store it and to do things like that. It's the hardware. But I'm talking about the software, beloved. Now let's go into the software aspect of it. See, the brain is the hardware. But what about the software? See, your soul is the software aspect of the memory. That's right. Your soul is your memory. Your ability to travel the soul plane is predicated upon your ability to remember, and your memory and your ability to be cognizant and conscious. All goes back to memory, beloved. So Western science has it all wrong. I mean, in order for you to have a clear memory, you have to open up the third eye, stimulate the pineal gland, open up the crown chakra, create a halo around yourself through proper meditation, through proper diet, through proper sex. You see, these are just some of the things that will help you with your memory, beloved, through consuming the right foods, alkaline foods. Become a scientist and put the right things in your body, so that when you talk about you want to experience the 4th and 5th dimensions, and you want to make this shift and you want to ascend, your ability to ascend is predicated upon your memory. You can't ascend. See, and that's why, like, a lot of people that get into the spiritual realm, they say, well, it's just the body. You know, I've heard even some like deep spiritual masters say this stuff, and I'm not going to name any names of people that's on YouTube that many of you listen to. And they talk about these people, like, they teach this stuff, you know what I'm saying? And they teach all these metaphysics and all these different principles and stuff like that. And we look at them as spiritual masters, but go and check their diet. You know what I'm saying? Like, before you're looking at all the information, but check and see what's in their cupboard. What are they eating and putting in their bodies? Because this is going to show you how spiritual they really are. And I'm going to do a video on what spirituality really is, because people don't really know what spirituality really truly is. You see? So spiritual masters out here saying that it's just a body. We got spiritual masters out here saying that, oh, it's just a body. You can put whatever you want. You know, I can eat pork. I can put pork on that pizza, or I can eat cheese. It's just a body. Every time you eat donuts and cheese and processed sugars, you're calcifying your pineal gland. You're blocking your memories. and your ability to remember. And then you talk about you want to meditate. You're not even really meditating if you still like consuming refined sugars and refined grains and processed foods and packaged foods and fast food. You're not even nowhere near the ascension process if you're still consuming those things. You're not experiencing these higher states of nirvana. You cannot even intake the prana. You cannot get in tune with your 4 higher senses. You have 4 higher senses: telepathy, psychometry, intuition, clairvoyance. These are your 4 higher senses. Now remember I told you the spiritual aspect, or I'm sorry, the encoding aspect of memory is directly tied into what? I said your senses. Now we went through the 5 lower senses: taste, touch, hear, smell. We went through the lower senses, but what about the higher senses? You see, this is going to help you to experience past life memories, the higher aspects of life. This is going to help you to ascend. You see, this is going to basically all tied into your ability to process these things through the activation of your higher senses, which are all tied into your 6 and 7 chakras. So you have to unblock these chakras, beloved. You have to unblock them. And this is what's going to help you to remember. And memory, like I said, I mean, this is key. Everybody on this planet, if you talk about you want to ascend, you don't want to come back, you don't want to reincarnate back and things like that, you have to learn how to remember and to store the memory and to store those life experiences to the point where you won't repeat these things over and over again. You won't have an attraction back to this plane because your memories, you have to learn how to carry the memories over to the soul plane. See, this is what the spiritualists are doing. This is the part they're not going to tell you in Western science about memory. See, when you die, your soul is your memory. That's all you have. When you meditate, you go to these higher dimensions, all you have is your memories. So that when you come back out of your meditation, that's all you got is your memories of what you learned on that realm. You can't even get initiated with ascended masters on a higher meditative realm if you don't have a good memory. How are you going to get initiated and you don't even remember what they're teaching you when you go on these higher realms and planes? Now, I mean, I could teach a lot about spiritual memory and go deeper into it, but I'm not going to do this here over on a YouTube forum. You know what I'm saying? But there's a lot of information that is to be learned when you start talking about spirituality and memory based on the 4th and 5th dimensions, and you want to live and you want to experience life on the 4th and 5th dimensions. You want to ascend and people want to transform and all these terms, but it's like you can't do none of this if you don't have a good memory. You know what I mean? We're not going to make it. Like this war and this spiritual Mustaqim, as the Muslims call it, this spiritual sojourn is fought on the spiritual realm in the 4th and 5th dimensions, the plane of force and the plane of spirit. And it's you take part in this on the 4th and 5th dimensions, and this is all based upon you having a good memory. You see, you can't even get into spirituality unless you have a good memory. Now, I'm on my website. People have been asking me about, do I have anything to help to activate the 3rd eye, to help to stimulate the 7th chakras, to open up the crown? Do I have a good product? And we finally, at 13 Signs Astrology, have released a great product called Focused. And this product is tied into help you with your memory function, help you to always be positive. You don't need any type of stimulants, caffeine and things like that to make you positive. This herbal formula that's all natural, different herbs, like I do in all my formulas. We have herbs from China, West Africa, and America in this formula. And it's all natural. It grows and it helps to stimulate the memory and helps to activate the 3rd eye. Helps you with your memory. But you want to change your diet as well. Like you don't want to just take this formula and you don't have you're not eating properly. You want to have the proper diet. So this is key, beloved, when we start talking about memory. You want to activate the 3rd eye. There are other products out there. We'll be having soon. The monoatomic gold helps with the experience of memory on the soul plane, the activation of the 6 and 7 chakras. The monoatomic gold is a little more expensive than this product I have here, and this product I have here works. It works. I mean, I guarantee you, I've been taking it before I even started promoting this product. I always take the products first, and it works. And other people have took the product, and it works. And you take it, and if you eat properly and you eat alkaline and things like that, you're not going to have anything to worry about. So then when you go into your meditations and you get into your visualizations and your mantras and your sacred geometry and things like that through your meditations, then you will experience higher states and you'll be able to leave your body. People want to know about lucid dreaming. I'm going to do videos on that. People want to know how to leave their body. It's all based on your memory, beloved. So I hope this little bit of information helped. And until we meet again, I'll leave you peace, love, and prosperity.